Let's talk about the Legacy Act.
So basically, what the Legacy Act does is that it taxes rich people more and makes sure that that money goes to childcare. So when wealthy people die, they have to pay an estate tax. The Republicans in the one big ugly bill made that estate tax less money. We make that state tax more money, double it, and then make sure that at least 15% of that money goes towards childcare. And I like to say it's like taxing trust fund kids to create a trust fund for all of America's kids, because we know that quality early childhood education is one of the best things we can do to make sure that every kid in America has the foundation they need to succeed in life.
And I think this is such a phenomenal idea, by the way. And I know that you introduced this shortly after the reconciliation bill slashed childcare and Medicaid and all of these horrible things that it had done. Was that deliberate timing or?
Yeah, it was definitely deliberate because I feel like the Republicans did take money away from people who needed it through cuts to healthcare, cuts to, food and hunger assistance in order to give tax breaks to the billionaires and big corporations. And this was the biggest redistribution of wealth from the poor to the rich that our country has ever seen. And I wanted to show that there is another way. And in fact, we do have, this is not actually a resource problem. We have the resources that we need in this country. We just need to be willing to tax them and make sure that every kid has what they need to succeed.
It's so interesting how Republicans have that scarcity mindset only when it comes to taking care of people and children in particular, it seems.
Yeah, never mind. They're perfectly willing to add $3.4 trillion to the deficit in order to give wealthy people tax cuts.
Exactly. So in particular, the estate tax, why did you choose to target that specifically? How did you think of that?
So I chose to target the estate tax specifically for a couple of reasons. One, because it is, I thought, very poetic that it is the tax you pay as you pass on, and that as you're literally passing your wealth to your next generation, you're also helping to pass that, basic foundational needs for the rest of the kids in our country too, right? That like you shouldn't just have to be the kid or grandkid of someone who made a lot of money to get what you need in life, that like every kid should have that. Also, when people pass away, they don't need that money anymore. They are literally dead. I think it's like one of the best tools we have to have a more equitable society, because we know that the passing on of wealth is a big contributor to the consolidation of wealth and the inequality in our country. And there's also a lot of money in the estate tax. And so, and it really only goes to people who have the most money. So there's really no confusion that this could be for like a middle class tax increase, right? It is literally families who have more than $15 million that they're passing on is who we're talking about. It is the richest of the rich, and they should be paying more into the system.
And when I'm thinking about any kind of money that I would have, not that I have that much money, but why wouldn't you want it to go to help somebody after you leave this earth? Do you have any idea why the people on the other side of the aisle might not enjoy this idea so much?
Well, look, I think that there's many people on the other side of the aisle who, one, don't think that anyone should have to pay any taxes, and especially not rich people, right? They just think like if you make the money, you earn it, you get it, even though like part of why you're able to make that money and earn it is because of the systems in America. And so you should give back so that more families have access to those systems. But also, like, I really think that they can't decide whether they hate more having to give assistance to people who aren't working, or they hate more the idea that women would be working instead of at home taking care of kids. And so instead they kind of do neither and then tell us that we should have more kids in order to get some award. So like, I guess they like need to make up their mind maybe. I don't know.
I know, right? So is there any way that people watching and listening to this can support the Legacy Act or the values behind it?
Yeah, so we just introduced it and now we're looking for co-sponsors. So it would be really helpful for you to talk to your member of Congress and tell them about why you think this is a good idea, because it's not going to pass this Congress with Republicans in charge. But what I'm hoping is that when Democrats are back in charge, instead of constantly fighting arguing over how we're going to pay for things and what's going to be paid for, that we all agree that we need a universal childcare system in this country, and that the Legacy Act is the start of how we get there.
That makes me so excited because I love thinking about that version of the future as we're dealing with all that we are dealing with right now.
Well, and so this is something I try and remind people. So my background's actually working in international conflict resolution, post-conflict transitions. And in other countries that have experienced democratic backsliding, if you're able to build a broad-based pro-democracy movement, you have a better than even chance of getting a better democracy on the other side. And I think that has to be our North Star. It's not enough to go back to what we had, because actually the status quo was not working for a lot of people. But let's use this moment of disruption, of the Republicans breaking everything, and actually use the time to reimagine what a better world can look like and start building it now.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Congresswoman. This has just been so nice. And I know you have a very busy day ahead of you and behind you. So thank you for sitting down with me.
Of course.